Larsson. Oh, he's in! Henrik Larsson! That is sensational! O'Reilly, how about that for a pass? Jota! How about that for a finish? That is Jota for you! In for Henrik Larsson, and Moravcik! His first goal for Celtic! Here is Shunsuke Nakamura! Exquisite!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. I'm JP, and joining me tonight, we have a full lot of hosts tonight for you. Tonight, we've got Daniel, Sean, and the Sheffield Wednesday captain, Barry Bannan. Barry, we'll start off for yourself, mate. You've not been on for a wee bit, and it's really good to see you, buddy. Hope you're well.
Aye, good to be on with you again, lads. Obviously, it's been international break, so not much club football and watching Celtic, but it's good to get back on, big man, and see the lads again. I love obviously coming on this podcast, so I'm looking forward to the night again.
Obviously, hold it and dod it. I'm not here to annoy you tonight, wee man, so you're in good hands tonight, I'm afraid.
That's how I've come on.
Aye, tremendous, brilliant. Sean, obviously, I've not spoke to you for a wee bit as well, mate. How are you? It's good to see you.
Aye, likewise, JP. Just like Barry, I've not been on in quite some time, so I'm looking forward to getting back, speaking to you, and I always enjoy the show and getting to talk about Celtic. Glad the international's over with. Obviously, it was very successful for us as a nation, but I'm happy to get back to domestic football. That's what we all live for.
Yeah, Daniel. Obviously, you're probably going to be sick of the sight of me now, mate, but good to see you, mate. It's good to get a chat with you again.
Right, everybody. I hope everybody's well. Don't know about any of yous, but I've certainly not come down for Scotland's heroics during the week. But it's always good to come on here and get excited, like Sean says. I think we're all ready now for the Celtic back at the weekend. We've missed them and quite a bit to discuss heading into the weekend. Yeah,
and obviously, as Sean says there, Barry, Daniel says there, Barry, Scotland's heroics. I can't touch on that with you guys. You've not been on for a wee bit. Obviously, watching Scotland the other night, mate. I mean, what an achievement. Who would have wrote that, man? And who would have put that in a bookie line? If probably 3 of the best goals you're likely ever seen one match at a time. So for the stars to have aligned, and obviously for it happened to, what should I say, a team that's not really usually, they don't usually carry a lot. Usually they kind of things go against us, and that's what we feel the pinch with afterwards. But it was so good, and as Daniel says there, Barry, the feeling's still pretty much surreal, really, that we've actually done it, and a team like Denmark as well.
No, it was brilliant, mate. It was obviously some unbelievable goals that were scored in the game for Scotland players that night. I think we deserved to go through with the goals alone.
Yeah.
I think obviously we were watching the game and panicking because Denmark had a lot of the ball, had a lot of chances. Even though the goals went in, I didn't really feel as if we were in control of the game. But no, it's amazing because normally, like you said, it's always us that's on the wrong side of these results. And I think I was 5, 6 the last time, maybe a bit older, the last time we got to a World Cup. So it's amazing for the country. Obviously, the team has done so well. We get into 3 major tournaments now, but this is the main one that everybody wants to get to. So I'm glad we've got there.
Yeah, and Sean, as Baz says there, mate, 3 great goals, but one obviously we're touching on because we are a Celtic podcast, mate, is definitely Kieran Tierney's, a lad that's come under a bit of scrutiny with the Celtic fans, a bit of scrutiny with the media due to not been performing greatly, or but the other night he just, Absolutely. But that was an absolute extreme finish if you've ever seen one in my life.
I completely agree with you, JP. I'd seen Tierney had said himself that he thought it was the third best goal of the night out of the three, but I'd have to disagree with him, mate. I'd probably say it was the second best goal, just behind McTominay's. I think McLean's was, it was some hit, don't get me wrong, but the technique, the composure, and the time of the game for Tierney to do that was world class, and a lot of credit needs to go to Steve Clarke. Bringing Tierney on at right back. I don't think many people would have saw that coming. And his substitutions, they all paid off. Every one of them scored. So, he has come in for a lot of stick, and, his football at times can be difficult to watch, but, football is a results-based business, and nobody can argue with what Clark's done for us. Got us into all the, the major tournaments that we want to be in, competing in. And it's an exciting time to be a Scotland fan. And that game had everything, mate. That's a game for the ages. We'll be talking about that when we're, 60, 70. My oldest daughter, she was watching highlights the other night, even though she already watched it the other day. So it's just got to be one of the games, mate, that you're always going to go back and look at. And great time to be, to be Scottish, and really, really proud of the players and everybody involved at the national team, mate. Yeah.
Daniel, I've already had your views based on the other night, but I can see you twitching on your chair there, mate, as if you're itching to maybe say something else. So I'll give you a small opportunity to do so.
No, it's just, it was a incredible game. Obviously, and personal highlight for me was that Kieran Tierney goal. Just an unreal player, to be honest. It's kind of the first guy, being a younger man, that I watched and I went, wow, this is somebody. Kieran, that's showing my age there, to be fair. Kieran Tierney, for me, growing up, was the one in the Celtic team where I was like, I want to be like him. So to watch him struggle in the last few years and then come on and get such a moment like that was extra special for me. But no, it's a fantastic goal for him, and hopefully we can see some of that again for the Celtic.
Yeah, definitely. You were talking about incredible there. What I absolutely find incredible is Big Alan's actually messaged this channel whilst on holiday, and he says, even everyone from sunny Tenerife. Now, if my memory serves me right, Tenerife's the same time range as us, is it not? Time zone. And with it being 16 minutes past 8 at night, I doubt Tenerife's very sunny just now. So I think he's maybe one too many sangrias, maybe. It's got to him or whatever. Either that, he could be in a sunbed shop, but for all we know, do you know what I mean? I'm maybe talking out of turn there, boys, but no, I think Big Alan will need to get his contacts changed, man, if he's seen sun earlier. I'm only kidding on, lads. But yeah, Ryan and Alan are over in Tenerife. They will no doubt be bringing some content from over there prior to the St Mirren game. I can't tell you when they'll be on. I just know that they'll probably be on, because now that they're away on holiday together, they don't really talk to me now. So they're just away doing their own thing now, and I don't really hear from them. But I think that's bad news, isn't it?
I think it's good news for you, big man, that you don't really hear from him, to be honest.
Hell, I suppose in a way, but the terms are not responding to messages and stuff like that. I think that's shocking. The
double team, I'm telling you. Tenerife better be on warning, because them two together out there, the recipe for disaster.
Absolutely. Big Alan's walking about the Veronica strip now, trying to sell the Scotto scratch cards now, trying to get him a bit of funds for his night out. But he's trying to hoodwink Ryan into doing it with him. I can't see that happening. But no, on to obviously other matters, boys. Obviously Celtic, we've been off for the last couple of weeks now, mate. We take on St Mirren on an unusual time, mate, a Saturday night, 8 o'clock. What do you make of that?
It's crazy. I don't even know there's the reasoning behind it. Is it because the international break? They've tried to give him a bit more time.
I think it's because of the TV. Is it on Premier Sports?
I can't remember Celtic playing at that time ever, apart from Champions League or Europa League. So it's a bit of a crazy time, but no, it's I'm looking forward to seeing them again. Obviously, I think at the minute it's going to be Martin O'Neill and Maloney and that again. So I'm quite happy with that, to be honest. I think barring the Michelin game, they've been really good, Celtic. They're more direct and probably a bit better to watch at the minute in terms of you want to go to games and watch goals and you want to see chances. And I think since Martin and Shawnee have come in, they've done that. We've scored a lot of goals in the 4 or 5 games they've been in. So it's as if the shackles are off and they've changed a wee bit in how the Brendan team was playing. And you can see wee bits of that coming in. So it would be lovely to have a manager appointed, whether it is Martin that stays or somebody comes in and Martin goes. But at the minute, I'm quite happy because I think he's come in, he's stabilised us, and not only stabilised us, but he's got them playing good football and winning games. And I've had him as manager, so I'm delighted for him. I know SHAUN really well as well, so it's brilliant for the two of them, and I'm quite happy for it to keep going the way it is. I know a lot of Celtic fans want more clarity and want a manager appointed, whether it is Martin to the end of the season or somebody comes in. But I'm quite happy with them two at the minute. I don't think it's really rocked the boat really since they've come in. The players seem to be responding and performing. So long may it continue.
Yeah, obviously, Sean, what do you think and as Baz says, they had a more attacking football, the change in terms of more chances created. Since Martin and Sean have come in, mate, what would you say is the biggest point you can highlight to say, like, that certainly changed from what it was previously, or, because ultimately, as we all seen, mate, things were going very stale under Brendan, and things were starting to look from the outside that not all rosy in the garden in terms of players maybe not responding to Brendan. Probably doesn't help when he starts to, label them a Honda Civic and comparing them to a Ferrari. And so things were probably going kind of pear-shaped inside, and that's probably why that change even happened. But Baz is right, since Martin's come in, there's been a significant change. But what would you say, in your opinions, the one that you can put your finger on and go, right, that's what's changed for us?
I just feel like, mate, watching the games now, that the players have got more freedom to just express themselves, and there's no like a strict way of playing. It seems under Martin O'Neill, if we want to go, if the right backs want to hit it long, they'll hit it long. The one difference I've noticed is with set pieces, all the corners seem to be going in the box, whereas with Brendan it seemed to be like short corners. Then it was recycled into the midfield, and then before you know it, you're passing the ball back to your defence.
Yeah,
I've noticed with Martin O'Neill's team, all the balls are going in the box. So I feel like what he's brought to the team is a very much more direct. And I've been delighted with Martin O'Neill's return since he came to the club. He's 3 wins out of 4. Came up against a really, really good Michelin team that could beat anybody, to be honest, in that tournament, maybe even at Champions League level. I know they're a really, really good side. And I thought the second half against Michelin, O'Neill adjusted the team, and we came out, a lot better in the second half than what we did the first half. And I thought his interview as well, I think it was Falkirk, or was it Kilmarnock? We beat 4-0 after Michelin. I thought his interview for that was a lot more. There was a lot more intent behind it. It wasn't as like cracking jokes and sarcasm. It seemed like it was really focused, and he's brought a real calm to the club. I think at this time it was an absolute masterstroke for the board. We can't brush that aside. I know they've come in for a lot of stick, but when we needed somebody in to calm the ship and, steady the players. It was an absolute masterstroke. I personally would never have seen that coming. I don't know if any of you would have thought Martin O'Neill would have been back in the dugout for Celtic, but here we are, and I'm happy that he has, mate.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel, as you know, mate, I spoke to you and Ryan before Ryan went away his holiday, and I spoke to you yesterday when we done our recording. And I said to you then, I says, for me, I agree with Sean. I think it was a stroke of genius. For as much as Dermot Desmond's come under criticism for various different things through the years, I said that thing for me is a stroke of genius to have that in your memory, your mind right away, to go and pick up your phone straight away and go, right, Brendan's resigning. We need help. We need somebody just now, because like I says, mate, in that moment, you're kind of in a mini crisis. A manager like Brendan Rodgers is leaving the building. Now, what people maybe think about the way things ended, that's irrelevant to me. A guy like that's leaving the building with guys like John Kennedy, who's been there for numbers of years as well. So we needed someone straight away. It would have been dead easy, mate, for them to maybe give it to somebody like John Kennedy if he wasn't leaving, and that probably wouldn't have went down too well with the fans. But obviously, with Martin O'Neill coming in, mate, do you not think that buys them certain amount of time to then go and do their due diligence behind the scenes and get the right man in for the job? And then not only that, then Martin comes in, as Baz says, he wins 3 out of his 4 games, and he gives us that bit of cushion to relax and go, listen, there's no need to go and rush this appointment, because I've got the team winning again and got them believing. So obviously, with your own thoughts, mate, would you agree with that, or do you see something else?
Yeah, definitely. I said that to you the other day when we were recording as well, that I think it's been a good interim in the fact that it gives us the chance to kind of relax domestically, and we know it gives us more time to go and get somebody maybe a bit more out there or a bit more time. So it's been good that way. But I think with the appointment of Martin, he's come in and he's steadied it. So, and I think a lot of Celtic fans would feel quite similar in myself, that if it's not to be Wilfred Nancy, then they don't mind waiting. Because we've seen domestically that Martin O'Neill can get a good tune out of this group of players. It's just however long that is.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. We comment there, Baz. Obviously, I'll bring you in this. Brian Moriel's actually, he's kind of said it to me, but again, this is something I've said to all you lads, and this is just my opinion as well. I think we can't go into January window with an interim management team there. We need a new face in for him to bring in what he needs, rather than Martin O'Neill or Sean Maloney. Because I think Martin, a couple of times, Baz, he has been asked about it on his pressers and in his post-match interviews, and he has says that he's not going to be part of any recruitment process and what's going on there behind the scenes. So, in terms of that comment, mate, do you agree with that, or do you think it? Do you see it a different way? Do you think Martin O'Neill would be a good shout to have in place for the January window, with a view to maybe bringing in players like he had before, like team players with physicality? Maybe, I don't know if who could quickly very identify a certain number of players to do that, or do you agree with the comment in terms of we need a full-time manager back in place?
Well, we've got a recruitment team there as well that are getting paid money. I know it comes down to the manager's decision of who you want to bring in, but there'll be a list there probably previously from Brendan that the recruitment team will be working on. I know it won't be Brendan coming in, but they will have players on a list or a database or whatever, however Celtic do it. But I know Martin O'Neill's been out of job for a while. He's got a lot of young, hungry people around him who are in the future want to go and become first-team managers. So they some of them have managed. Shawnee's managed. Matt Foringham's managed as well. So
Yeah.
they'll know players from when they've been doing the job themselves.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll have a say in it as well. Obviously, Martin's been watching from afar, but you can see he's still quick, and he'll know players, and it'll be just whether the budget can fit the players that he knows that he wants to bring. But it's all right saying he doesn't want to be part of it now, but if we get to middle of December and he's still in charge, then there's going to come to a point where he needs to actually have a look at players and who he's going to sign, because I think before this international break, Martin O'Neill thought we would have had a manager appointed in the international break, so he's never going to answer then. His obvious answer is he won't have anything to do with it. But as time passed and you come back, and now he's doing the St Mirren game now at the weekend, he's a smart enough man to know leave his cell short change, basically. So he'll know that the closer it gets to the window, that he might still be the manager, and he'll want players in because he'll want to win the league. If it's going to be him to the end of the season, he'll want to win that league, and he won't want to leave his cell short. So I think we'll be all right. I think if he's still there, come middle of January, he'll start then doing his own homework and looking at players. And listen, it's no hard to find players. There's databases, it's laptops nowadays. You just go on and you have a look for a couple of hours. It's quite easy. The analysis team at Celtic will have all the top-notch data and videos. So Martin will, if it gets closer to that, I think Martin will be definitely heavily involved, especially if he's still in charge, with the younger ones around him helping them. But I don't fear January transfer window if we've got a manager or no. I think if it is Martin, he'll be able to do it. He's if you look at him previously at Celtic, some of his signings were arguably, well, in my lifetime, some of them were. Well, Larsson was the best. I know Larsson wasn't him, but he got the best out of Larsson. People like Chris Sutton and that, and John Hartson's and people like that, they were arguably Celtic's best players in the last 20, 30 years, and he was the one that made them signings. So I would trust him 100%.
And obviously, Baz, do you think he should be given the opportunity to lead Celtic out in the cup final?
Aye, I do. Obviously, the biggest game this season, he was in charge of for the semi-final, and got us through it. And to be honest, I know the result doesn't look convincing, but we dominated large spells of that game. In previous games against them, we've not really done that. So we had a lot of injuries as well that people forget about. We've got a lot of injuries for that game. Alistair Johnson was out, Carter Vickers. You've got Jota who's been out. So we were quite a few players doing as well. And he put a team out there who went out and dominated large spells of that game. So no, I'd love for him to be in the dugout at Hampden and hopefully get up them stairs to pick up the trophy. It'd be unbelievable, really, because you look back at managers who have managed Celtic, and he's arguably in my lifetime probably the best. So to see him go up them stairs and collect another trophy all this way down the line, I think it'd be brilliant.
And just quickly, there's a wee comment there for Ryan for you, Baz, before we obviously move on to Sean's thoughts there on the same topic. Says, evening lads, hope all is well. Good luck on Sunday, Baz. Listen to Ben Foster's podcast earlier on the plane there. He's showing off again. He's away on holiday. He said Oxlade Chamberlain is still a free agent. Do you reckon that could be a possibility for Celtic, Baz?
I don't know, because I'm not going to lie and say I've seen enough of the Oxlade Chamberlain in Turkey last year and stuff like that. I don't know what age he is. I think he's probably late 20s, early 30s now. I don't know. Ideally, a couple of years ago, from when he was playing in England, you would take him all day, but I've not seen enough of him recently to say if that would be a good option. Given his career and how I remember him, then it would be an unbelievable signing, but he's obviously not had a club now for a couple of months. I see he's training at Arsenal. Whether that's his decision that he's not got another club with personal terms or he's just struggling to find a club, I don't know, but it's probably a risk. I don't know how many games he's played either recently, if he's been fit. I know he's had injury problems, which probably slowed him down a bit and probably made him have to go to.
Aye.
But I don't know, to be honest. I don't know if it would be. I think we're well stacked in that area as well at the minute. We've got a lot of centre mids and number eights. So it's not really a place where we're probably looking at the minute. I think we have enough number eights. We've got Atati, Engels, Nygren, McCowan, Bernardo. McGregor can play there if needed be. So I don't think that's a position that I know he can play wide and stuff like that, but he's been playing more centrally the last few years that I've seen him. So I don't think that'll be something that Celtic are looking at.
So, more or less, Ryan, if you are still tuning in, mate, Baz was a bit more diplomatic, but you know me, mate, I don't mince my words. Stay off of Venoms, mate.
The thing is, if he's a free agent, so you can sign him now. We don't need to wait till January, so he can come and sign tomorrow if Celtic were in for him. So it would be done by now. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to wait till January to sign people like that.
Yeah, that is the thing. I mean, he could have been in during the international break here. He's not as if he's not an internationalist anymore himself. He doesn't get picked for England, so he could have went any time. But obviously, Sean, touching on the points we were talking about there, mate, regarding Martin O'Neill himself, mate, in terms of the question that came in for Baz, I'll put that one to you, mate. Do you think Martin O'Neill would be a good fit to oversee the January window, mate, or are you the same as Baz? Do you're not really too worried about the January window yourself?
Pretty much, mate. I really liked Barry's feedback there to everything because I was just sitting nodding, agreeing with it all, mate. I think
that's why we get him on, mate. That's why we bring him on to do this for us.
Aye, steals all my sound bites. But no, I'm
Barry's cloned your phone, Sean, just in case you wondered, mate. Know what I mean?
I think my phone's tapped because everything I was going to say, he's already said it. So I'm.
That's how you were glitching before we came on the show.
That's how he was glitching, aye.
I came away to debate whether I could actually handle being on the pod tonight. No, honestly, like everything Barry said, I completely agree with. I've got no qualms with Martin O'Neill, heading into the January. In fact, I would have Martin O'Neill to the end of the season. There you go. I think there's for me, there just doesn't feel that pure sense of urgency to go and get a manager. Like, I don't know, it's such a strange feeling. Like, I can't ever remember in recent times Celtic losing a manager and being so calm and relaxed about it. Is to just say, right, we'll get a manager when we get a manager. Like, for me, there's zero rush here because I just feel like what Martin O'Neill's, what he brings, and Martin O'Neill's as shrewd as they come. He really is. Like, he wants to be in that job. I don't care what he's saying on his interviews, and he's been very candid with what he says. But Martin O'Neill would absolutely be in that job to the end of the season to go for winning that league and winning the cups along the way. I just think he's been really candid about it. But I think what Barry said, the recruitment teams there, the board have brought in.
Yeah.
Just even in this summer, I know that it was. The way they went about their business was, we were all dumbfounded. But even at that, even though it was a poor window, we have brought in some really good talent. Albeit we wanted a bit more, but we got Iniacho on a free, who's been he's been brilliant up top. Nygren, really like the look of him. He's got goals in him for a guy that plays in the position he does. I think he's Celtic's top goal scorer.
By the way, he probably had about 20 more, man, with the amount of chances he's had, I know.
But he keeps going, he will miss.
No, I know, aye.
He's a bit like, for them, what Dessers was, he'll miss free, but you can't argue with his goal return. He's Celtic's got top goal scorer.
Or his assist, by the way. His assist are ranking up on us, man.
Oh, and we got him for a steal at $1.5 million. He's a player, mate. And I just feel like, you know, I think Martin O'Neill, since he's came back, we've scored something like 11 goals. If you're looking at domestic, just take Michelin aside, we've got 11 goals to 1 conceded. You know, and one of the games was against Rangers, which for you know, probably gone back a season and a half, we've said this Celtic team's lacked any fight in the, you know, just across the full team. It just looks like they'd be going into games and just letting them, you know, Diamondi goes about like bloody Jack Nicholson for The Shining, just a pure hatchet man, absolutely taking everybody out the game. And in that game, you could see like Engels, McGregor, they were getting really stuck into him. And I just thought that. In fact, see when Rangers went down to 10 men, I turned to my mate and I says, they'll play better now, because that's what the new Rangers do when the odds are stacked against them. And you've seen it time and time again when they've went down to 10 men, they actually play better. So I expected that when they went down to 10. I thought 11v11, we were outstanding against them. And that's all credit to Martin O'Neill, because we would not have played like that under Rodgers, I don't believe anyway. I don't think we got into that game with the same hunger, the same desire. And as Barry said, we were missing key players in that game. Carter Vickers, Alistair Johnson, Iniacho, the confidence Martin O'Neill's gave John Kenny, and, you know, he gave Osmond his opportunity. I mean, how can you argue against letting Martin O'Neill just run his course till the end of the season? I think that's where what you're saying about the recruitment and that, mate, I've got no issues, because I think the board will take the deal with that. And this, like Barry says, they've probably identified players, even if when Brendan was there, what we need. I don't think. I mean, what would you say we probably need in January? Maybe about 3 players.
I would say so. I don't think we need
3 or 4
players. 3 or 4. I've got full confidence in the board and the recruitment team and the experience and expertise, like Barry says, SHAUN, you know, and that bring to go and get the players we need. It's a no-brainer for me. I'm not sitting here nervous at all at the thought of going into the January window with a manager, JP.
Yeah, listen, I thought I would just ask a question. Personally, my thoughts are I wouldn't be disappointed if Martin O'Neill. I would enjoy that. In fact, if Martin O'Neill was going to remain there at the end of the season, I think the important thing, Daniel, as the lads have been chatting there, I think the important thing for me would be clarity. So I think maybe I would love to know, as a Celtic fan, exactly, you know, like maybe one of the hierarchy to come out, or even if it's Dermot Desmond again with another restatement or whatever for us, just to let us know that. I know Celtic put out a statement, and I thought that was tremendous, because this is a big thing that we've been wanting for the club. We've been asking for more communication and everything else. So the fact that they put out a statement to say that Martin and SHAUN, after the international break, were going to remain in charge, but I thought that was a step in the right direction, because certainly that's what we've been asking for as a fan base. I don't think many can really grumble there. Moving forward, you'd like to see more of that. More regular updates about maybe what's happening, stuff that we're not privy to. We don't know what's going on in the background. But I think there needs to be clarity. I think first and foremost that needs to happen. So we need to ascertain, are we going to have a new manager, or is it going to be Martin and SHAUN? And who knows, maybe there's been a conversation happening behind the scenes. In my opinion, this was set up to go short term. I don't think, Daniel, there was any long term, or because from when they started, mate, to the end of the season, that's quite a bit of time. You know, that's several months. So, my opinion, I don't think they envisaged that long of being the case. Probably Martin didn't either. But like SHAUN says, mate, he's very candid, and you know, he is very guarded in what he puts out to the media, as much as he's trying to be jovial and does all his joking, mate. But in terms of Martin itself, Daniel, are you the same as the lads, mate? Are you quite happy enough for Martin to remain there and do the job? And obviously, yourself, are you kind of more relaxed again, like the lads are, in terms of the transfer window coming up. Because as Barry says, and I think it's a great point. I've always said it even on here. The recruitment team have got a job to do. So it's not like, I think Ryan said it before, we don't have a manager. How can we be bringing in players? Well, that's what the recruitment team are paid for. They're paid to bring in the team. They're paid to bring in players. But as Baz says, it'll be players that they've done over a period of time. Jesus, Tanecki had says we were chasing him for January. And when Nygren signed with him, he says we tried to get him last summer. So it's like, these guys don't just... It's not like Celtic go out and identify a player on a Wednesday and then all of a sudden go for him on a Friday. That's not what happens. It's obviously over a period of time. They've got to cast their net far and wide, mate. But in terms of your own thoughts with Martin, mate, how are you feeling?
Yeah, if it is to be Martin heading into the January window, I think it will be kind of a testament to how the talks have kind of a stalled way, obviously, because Wilfred Nonce has been identified as clearly their main target. So if it is, listen, personally, I don't mind Martin being there. He's kind of made very clear to everybody, listen, I'm only here for as long as I'm here. I have no intentions of staying on, but I don't think if Celtic were to ask him, listen, do you want it to the end of the season, he's going to turn around and say no. But if we're going to have somebody in the door, we need them before January, because January is going to be huge, in my opinion, for us really kicking on, considering the amount of injuries and stuff that we've got. Recruitment in January is going to be vital. I think we're kind of a spot on when we're saying, like I said to you yesterday, we're needing 3 or 4 players. More specifically in that right-hand side. And you're spot on. The recruitment team are paid to bring the guys in. So if there's no a manager there, they've got a job today. The only thing is, in the summer in particular, they've not really done that for me. Obviously, we got a couple of boys in who look very, very talented, but I think overall, when you look at that summer window, I don't think you're putting that down as a success, considering how the seasons went. So, yeah, it's going to be a big, big, big window to shape up the rest of the season, in my opinion. And listen, if they have a manager in place, I feel like January is going to be the perfect opportunity for them to start recruiting players for the system that they kind of want to play. So, yeah, if you're going to get somebody in, it needs to be before January, because if you're in the January transfer window and it's Martin O'Neill who's still in charge, he's going to obviously want to recruit players for his style of play, and then you could get to the summer and then Celtic go and find somebody who plays like Ange, which is completely different to the way Martin wants to play the game. So it's kind of a catch-22. But domestically, I've got no qualms if it was Martin to stay, because he's shown that he can get a good tune. But yeah, I feel as if we are going to get a manager, it needs to be before January, so that they can start recruiting and kind of a bed in early.
Yeah, Baz, do you think like you've said there as well, do you think the longer this goes, and if Martin's still there, there's a possibility then it could be Martin to the end of the season? Because then why would you, like Daniel says, why would you bring in a new manager once the January window's over and done with? Like, why would you wait till then? Would you not want, if you were wanting to move in that direction, would you not want to have the new coach and manager in before that window opens?
I think, just before I answer that, I think going back to this transfer window in January, as a club, you should have a style of play, and the manager that you recruit should be certain managers who play that style of football.
Yeah.
Because then, no matter if you find yourself in situations like we're in now with a manager, the recruitment team will recruit players for the Celtic way and know the manager that comes in. So you can have a look at it now and think, well, how can you get to the recruitment team in January for them to bring players in when there might be a manager coming in January and they players don't suit that manager? But if your club, I think all clubs nowadays, the way Brighton, and they have a style of play that they want to play, as a club, and they recruit managers who play that style, and the managers are made to recruit the players who play that style as well. So I don't think we'll have too much of a problem, because I think Celtic, the last couple of years with Brendan and Ange, it's not really changed as much, the style. It's been possession-based, tweaks here and there, but I think the recruitment side of things will be pretty similar to how it's been previously. And that's how good clubs are run, because you don't recruit for managers in their style, you recruit for the football club style, and you should always have a way of playing. And Celtic, they have a clear way of playing, especially recently anyway, with the managers we've had in with Brendan, Ange, and then back to Brendan. They've been quite similar. Obviously, Ange was a lot faster and more front foot pressing, but in terms of dominating games and dominating the ball, they were quite similar. So I don't see the recruitment being a problem. But to answer your question about the longer it goes on, could he get it? I definitely think they want a manager in. I do think because he's had a great start, Martin, as well. So it would be easy for the board to just go, well, we'll get to him to the end of the season and put everybody's minds at rest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but they're obviously still looking and trying to get somebody in at the minute. Otherwise, the other day when it looked as if we've missed out in that Wilfred Nancy, they could have easily said, we're going to get to these two to the end of the season, but it was they're in charge whilst we carry on looking, which to me tells me that they're definitely trying to get somebody in. But as you say, they're in a privileged position, the board, that they're lucky the person who's stepped in and doing the job at the minute is so good, because, as you say, they don't have to rush it, because he's come in and took to it like a duck to water, winning games, won a big semi-final. So it buys the board time. But no, I think I'd be amazed if he stays to the end of the season. I would love him to stay to the end of the season, me personally, as a Celtic fan. I think he's been brilliant. He's been a brilliant manager his whole career. And I've been impressed with how he's took to it after being out for so long. The last couple of games I've watched have been brilliant. So personally, I'd love him to have it to the end of the season, but I think the board think differently. And to be fair to the board as well, he's going to be short term, because he doesn't want to come in and stay and take next season. He's already made that well.
I think that's to do with his age, Buzz. I think that's maybe to do with how old he is, and
I think
he's
so.
been out the game for quite a while as well.
He's settled down south with his wife. Obviously, he's got a nice gig down south as well. He lives at home with his wife and his family, and then he's got the top sport, and he's been doing a lot of football, European nights at Forest. So he's left other jobs to come and take us. I know this is a much bigger job and a better job, but I think he's just happy. He was quite happy with how his life was going, and he's kind of doing us a favour. But no, I think the board are right to probably act now, because for the long term of the club, if we can get somebody in now, then it's best for the club. But as I said, if they can't, I wouldn't be rushed, because the people we've got in control at the minute are more than capable.
What do you make of the rumour that's going about, mate? And it started off through WhatsApp and stuff, that somebody in the know has said that Martin O'Neill will be the Celtic manager right up until the cup final, and then the next morning Celtic will announce a new manager.
It can't, I can't see that. You would have the manager in now, like we're fighting for a title, we're quite a few points behind. There'll be no date on it. Like the Wilfred Nancy thing, I don't know what's happened there. I don't know if they've spoke to him, they're not sure, or he's turned it down, or like I think you said, Big Man, he said he was away on holiday. As the season
Columbus Crew have actually come out today in contrary to that, mate, and have actually said that there'll be no approach for Celtic for him directly to them.
So I don't know what's going on, but I think what you said, it's one of the ones where the board, if we're winning games, they can take their time and get it right. You don't want to be rushed in and getting rid of a nail and getting rushed into somebody and a few months down the line thinking, we might need to get somebody else in here. So they know that this is a big decision because we find ourselves quite a bit back in the title race at the minute. So if we dare appoint somebody new, it needs to be somebody that's coming in and hitting the ground running. There's no bedding in and taking your time and getting used to how that man. It needs to be the here and now. This is no. You've seen a few times Rangers have had managers come in halfway through the season and it's he needs time. There's no time. You don't get time at these clubs. So that's another thing for the board. That's probably why they're taking so long, because it's a massive, massive decision, because we want to win the league again and the board want to win the league again. So with Martin O'Neill at the minute, it's gone cushy and we look as if we've actually clawed a few points back since he's come in. So that'll be good for the board, and it gives them more time to actually pick the right one. There's no excuses in their behalf because they've had more than enough time to get the right person in.
Yeah, Sean, I think that's another great point for Baz and anybody that was sitting there thinking that, you know, why have they not got a new manager in? They should have a new manager in by now. They should be doing this, be doing that. You know, people sitting there with Baz saying that, you know, they need to get it right. And I think a great point for Baz is, if you look at the way Celtic want to play and the way they're synonymous with playing, they've brought managers in to suit the style. Now, I firmly believe, and I've said this to Daniel, I do think it will be Wilfred Nancy, whether that is tomorrow, next week, or 2 weeks from now, whenever it's going to be. And I think it's because of the way he plays football. The way he plays football is a very fast, attacking, dynamic style of play. It suits Celtic style. Now, people can, you know, they can talk about and speculate about the level of where he is just now, and everybody done that with Big Ange. And look what that materialised to. Jesus went on and won Tottenham the Europa League since leaving us. I know he never done too well with Nottingham Forest, but again, that's no through Ange's fault. There was a lot of things going on at the time there. But when you look at it overall, mate, this is a manager that's probably left field as well, because all the media had it as Knutson and, you know, the boy McKenna, Craig Bellamy, Robbie Keane. There was all sorts of different names flung in by the media. But this lad's, we've now found, you don't do your due diligence on him, you now find he's got ties to Paul Tilsdale, who's Celtic's head of recruitment. He's got, you know, he's worked with other people. The boy Ampadu worked with Tilsdale as well. So it's like you know, he's been the top target we're led to believe for the job, mate. And it's a great point Baz makes, that, you know, they've went and identified this guy as a type of manager that the way we play football, and I think that's really important, mate, as well.
I know. I think that's a fantastic point that Barry makes. You know, we're all Celtic fans. We know the way the club plays, the way we want to play. You know, I don't think it would be hard for anyone else to go like, this is what we need and this is the style of player we need. So I don't think there's a need to get a manager in to do that for Celtic, because the recruitment team have been doing that for years with Celtic, you know, and we've made profit off the players by doing that. You know, our model is you know, the best in Scotland, probably up there with one of the best, and, you know, considering what we're bringing in Europe, considering what we're bringing in and what we're getting back on players. For a club like Celtic in the market we're in the league we play in, you know, our transfer model and the profit we've made is absolutely phenomenal. So, you know, if Martin's in, fine, no bother. If we want to go for a manager before then, also fine. I just feel really, really at ease whatever way this is going to play out. My ideal scenario would be similar to Barry. I would like to see Martin O'Neill to the end of the season. I would, if you were asking me what target or manager I would have liked for Celtic to go on for, it would have probably been Knutson for Bodo. But I think there was talk of him, maybe he's looking to sign another deal with Bodo. But I think his whole his whole philosophy and his style of play and everything just marries with what Celtic are as a club and what our model is, developing players, bringing in players, moving them on for profit. This guy's doing it all, and he's doing it all at a club. I mean, Bodo, before Knutson, I'd probably, be forgiven for not really knowing who they were as a team. So that's credit to what Knutson has done with them. He's put them right up there. And I thought when they played us at Parkhead, they were absolutely phenomenal. They were just so dynamic, so direct, really pacey. I just thought they were, they blew us away. So that would be my main man. I don't really know much about Wilfred Nancy or what he's done in his career, but like you said, JP, I've heard he does play a really fast attacking football. I think he likes to play a 3-4-3. And I'm just really, really at ease. I can't remember a time.
It's it's actually, so when his teams attack, it's a 3-4-2-1. And then when they're sort of defending, it drops back into a 5-2-3. That's the way he plays.
Right, okay. Well, as I say, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know much about the guy. But like you said, none of us had very much known about Ange. And albeit, he left Nottingham Forest on crazy terms, but he was successful after Celtic. He went on to, however way you done it. Do you know what I mean? And there was managers, great managers at Tottenham before Ange that couldn't do that. Mourinho, Poch, there was, and Ange done it. And again, even if Ange, when it first, he was free, and I thought, go and get a big Ange, man. Why not? Round 2, let's have it. But it just seems that he's no. I don't know. But stranger things have happened. You need to just look across the pond to, when their manager search was going on and all the ups and downs of that. It'd be some laugh if we actually went and got Muscat. that would be absolutely brilliant.
I'm not really sure many Celtic fans would be laughing at that one, I'm afraid, Sean.
Well, it'd be some laugh if we went and got him and it was successful for us. That would be, I mean, you couldn't write that. That would be something else. But it's wide open now, mate, as to who we're going to get. I know you believe it's going to be Nancy, but just when is that going to be? I don't know.
No, that's it. How long's a piece of string, I suppose. But Daniel, obviously Barry touches on there, the importance of having the right manager in, mate. Do you think that's a biggie as well, to come in and try and continue with, like as Barry says, the work with Ange and Brendan done?
Yeah, absolutely. It's huge, but for me, it just feels with the current climate, everything that's going on, and obviously recruitment and being put under the spotlight and stuff like that, and the board getting such scrutiny as well. No matter who you put in that seat, there's always going to be question marks. For me, Wilfred Nancy is not the man, because if you look at his previous experience, it's not. This is what I've said to you, JP. It's not what we're, as a fan base, looking for. We're looking for a manager that's got experience playing in European competitions. He's got. He might the football does seem exciting, but it's all based on a press. If a team's pressing you, it's about outsmarting them, width and stuff like that. Teams don't play like that here. So we're going to be up against a low block. So it's so many question marks over it. But yeah, it needs to be the right person, and there needs to be a lot of change upstairs as well if we want to see that manager given the best possible opportunity to go and do what he wants to do. And that's a big one for me. Things need to change upstairs before, like I've said, you could have anybody in there, but if they're doing the same things, you might end up with the same outcome of struggling to qualify for the Champions League, struggling to qualify for knockout tournaments and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's going to be huge. There's a lot of change coming to the football club that's needed with regards to the squad, whether that be January or the summer. But there's going to be even bigger changes needed upstairs, especially come round for next season, if we want to see that kind of a European progression that we're looking for.
I certainly think change is happening as we speak. I mean, how long's a piece of string again? How long is it going to take to change all this? But there is significant changes happening around the football club. I mean, we've seen the the changes already happening with the youth setup and all that as well. With Stevie Hamill, ex-Motherwell fullback, coming in now, and he's going to head up our youth football operations now. But in terms of this Wilfred Nancy, the kind of due diligence I've managed to do on him, and basically some of his traits and the way that his teams play. So he applies like a calm build-up when they're under pressure. He's got a kind of box midfield. He plays with inside forwards, wing backs with total width going high in the pitch, and obviously using rotations there. He plays high pressing with side traps, which absolutely blew my mind, by the way. When I was watching the game, I was watching to figure this. They're really, really fluid in their attacking transitions. Defensive shape in the game I watched, they kind of dropped into like a 5-4-1, 5-2-3 with a mid-block. And again, going for that attacking thingy to then drop into that shape, I thought was really good. When he was asked about it, he was talking about Atletico Madrid under Diego Simeone, and that's where he's kind of got that for in terms of the way they defend. Like I said, you probably expect a lot of high turnovers and quick transitions from his teams. He's tactically astute, because in the game I watched, he makes things happen. He changes things that he's not happy with. I think it was like 20 minutes into the game, he actually took one of his centre-backs off because the guy gave the ball away 2 or 3 times. And that's what, again, at the end of that game, he says he done it for. So he never wasted any time. He actually swore during the post-match interview as well. He used the F word twice when he was talking about the centre-back, and says he'd be having a word with him, obviously because he never applied what he was asking him to do. I just felt his philosophy aligns with the way Celtic play, and obviously we've got a lot of similarities in the squad that he has over in America just now. I think he's one of those kind of managers that could elevate us both domestically and in Europe, because Celtic don't normally, in my opinion, they don't defend like that. They don't drop into a 5-4-1 or a 5-2-3. I think the last time they've dropped into a 5 was against Atalanta, when we were away from home and we managed to get them a 0-0 draw that night. But I was just saying to the boys there, as well, you were away momentarily. I don't know if you heard, mate. When I was watching the game, mate, obviously he plays with like a box midfield with inside forwards, and they rotate. And he obviously uses wing backs to give them width, high and wide on the pitch as well. But the thing that blew my mind, mate, was he uses a high pressing, but he does it with side traps. And again, he rotates in and out of that as well, which totally, it was like watching 3D football when I was watching it. I'm going, what the hell's going on here? One minute this guy's here, and then the next minute he's away and we inside the field, and then another guy's over here covering for him. And it was just like they had like 2 extra men on the field the whole night. I think that's obviously just a wee insight, Baz, to some of the traits that Nancy, the way he sets up. I've watched a couple of his interviews as well, mate. He seems quite a character. He doesn't strike me as the type of guy that's got to take any nonsense. And I think if his team's aren't playing well, he'll let you know about it. I think it says there's a few interviews you can actually go and get on YouTube, and he actually uses the F word many a times in them. I know he probably wouldn't be able to do that here, and I know the press officer would probably be having kittens. I think if he done that here, plus the Scottish media would probably have a field day with him. I think he's one of those managers. If you don't do what he wants you to do, mate, he'll quickly remove you.
No, I've read up wee bits and bobs. I've not really seen much his teams play, so I can't really comment. I've obviously listened to Kenny Muller speak about him on one of the podcasts he done, and he spoke highly of him. But it's no matter what we say, and we can watch his teams and be hugely impressed and impressed with how he speaks in interviews. It's going to be a risk because the level that he's been managing it compared to the level that he'll step into, it's completely different ball game. So I'm not saying he'll fail, and it's not a good decision if we do bring him in, but it will be a massive, massive risk. And I know a point that every manager's a risk because you don't know how it's going to go. But going from CVs and previous clubs managed, then you could probably go for a safer option than Wilfred Nancy. But listen, we would have probably said the same about Ange Postecoglou, but Ange his record was he was winning things. He won with Australia, he won in Japan, he won everywhere he went. And we brought and he won here. So I'm not 100% sold on it, to be honest. As a Celtic fan, I would probably go elsewhere if we could. But listen, he might come in and he might be an unbelievable appointment, but it'll be a completely different ball game that he's used to, and it's whether he can adapt to that and do it here.
Yeah, 100%. Right, lads, obviously, I'll start with yourself with this one, Sean. Obviously, Celtic take on St Mirren in a late kick-off. It's on Sky. It's on Saturday night. It's at 8 o'clock, mate. It's a bit bizarre, if you ask me, for a Saturday kick-off, mate. It's not usually, as Baz says at the very beginning tonight, it's not usually at that time, mate. In terms of St Mirren, mate, how are you thinking going into the game, mate? What kind of animal do you think we'll be up against?
Well, similar to when we obviously played St Mirren the first game of the season. That was a bizarre circumstances around that. You know, the champions playing on a Sunday while everybody else kicked off the league on a Saturday. So it seemed to have come full circle. You know, it was a strange kick-off and decision, and it's the exact same on Saturday. A very bizarre time. I don't know what the logistics are behind that, but it's going to feel weird watching that. But I think St Mirren away is, you know, apart from going Ibrox, it's probably one of the hardest away fixtures, you know, of recent time. Cast on, of course, but St Mirren always put up a good fight, and it's going to be a tough game. You've seen what we were like against them at home, but I think I'll probably go for a 3-1 Celtic. 3-1. I think we'll get the job done. I think it's going to be a tough pace for the team, but you know, we've had this break. Martin O'Neill probably, you know, will have had time to work there on the players that he's probably not, because he was obviously thrown right into it, straight into training, straight into game. So he's not really had much time, and he's managed to get a tune a lot of these players. You know, you see, I know you get a lot of time you do get this new manager bounce, but I think what Martin O'Neill's done since he's came in is he's played the players where they should be getting played. You know, Engels for one, sitting in that double pivot, he's looked a totally different player. You know, he's brought so much, you know, dig to Celtic in terms of, you know, he's very, very physical. He's a fantastic athlete. You know, and his deliveries have been great. You know, I thought even James Forrest, who had ruled out as, you know, he's never going to be a first team player. He's happened to be such now because of our injuries, but I think even Forrest has looked a lot better under Martin O'Neill. So, and it obviously Austin Trusty, man of the match versus Rangers, and he's looked absolutely brilliant since he's been asked to come back in. So,
Yeah.
I think given the time away for the international and the Martin O'Neill's had time to work on the players, maybe even put some more of his philosophy into them. I'm really confident we'll go there and we'll get the win, but no taking it away for St Mirren. They're a really, really tough opponent, and Stephen Robinson's done a fantastic job at them, and he will go into bigger and better than St Mirren because he's been fantastic for them.
Yeah, he has, mate. Obviously, touching on St Mirren now, Daniel. St Mirren have only had 1 win in the league since the 27th of September, mate. The last victory they did have was that 4-1 win in the League Cup semi-final. Prior to that, mate, they've lost to Kilmarnock and Aberdeen have beat them 1-0. Dundee United beat them 3-1. They drew 2 each with Hearts. And then in the last league game, they got beat 3-0 with Hibs. I know there was some controversy in that tie. I think St Mirren had a couple of goals chopped off in the game as well. But all being said, they lost that game 3-0. In terms of your own opinion, Daniel, how do you see the game kind of panning out, mate? And obviously, how the threat from St Mirren?
Yeah, I think Sean's spot on there. We know that obviously travelling to Paisley is proving quite a challenge at times, but listen, we know this St Mirren team, obviously they might be in a poor kind of a run of form right now, but we know what we're getting with them. Strong, physical, tall and aggressive on the ball, so we can't kind of rule them out. For me, I see this as kind of a dress rehearsal for the cup final. Obviously, we have played them before this season. We did manage to get the victory, but it was a kind of a hard-fought win at home. So, yeah, it's a dress rehearsal for the cup final for me, and it's a great chance to go and lay down a marker. With it being such a difficult tie away from home, and then obviously having to go and play them at Hampden, it's a great chance to actually go, well, this is what you are walking into. I don't know how you feel about that, Barry.
No, I think it's going to be a tough game, but it could be a marker that could get laid down, like you said, for the cup final. They've proven tough at times, even at the first game of the season. We struggled for large parts to break them down. It might be a bit different now. Obviously, we got a different manager. We're a bit more, no direct, but we get forward a lot more quicker. So they'll be dealing with a different Celtic that they played against the first game of the season. But no doubt it'll be hard. Obviously, you've got a lot of players coming back from international duty who will probably come in the day and the morning. Won't have much time to get ready for it. But no, like Sean said as well, I think Martin O'Neill's been there for a while now, and he'll see a lot different now from when he seen it when he first stepped in. He's probably knowledge of the players now has went way up. So there might be wee tweaks here and there as well with the starting team now that he's been in the door a few weeks. But I think the biggest thing that I've seen that teams have struggled to deal with Celtic recently is he's brought that physicality back into the Celtic team with Austin Trusty coming into the team, Arnie Engels with Nygren. You've got Johnny Kenny up front now, who's a big physical striker. And it was funny that Sean touched on corners and set plays not getting took short anymore. It's because we've got a lot more physicality now in the box. I think he's went back to the way his old Celtic team used to be, and it looks as if he likes Arnie Engels because he's big and physical. They've took over Wheel Hatati at the minute, the two, Nygren and Engels, possibly because their physicality. So, no, I think it'll be a different animal that they faced. St faced the first game of the season. I think Martin will want to go out and lay a marker down for the cup final, and I know it's a tough place to go, but I can only see a Celtic win it at the weekend.
Baz, obviously just touching on the news coming through that obviously is it common coming out of Scotland camp and the players walking back into training singing "Yes Sir I Can Boogie" with a bottle of bucky and a noozle? So I heard Kieran Tierney was all that today.
I think, see, to be honest, unless he's changed, but when we were younger in the Scotland team, he didn't drink.
KT?
I think he's teetotal, but it may have changed. And if there's ever going to be a time to drink, then the other night would have been the night, I think. But the KT that I remember, he was teetotal. But I'm sure a few of the other boys, like I seen Kenny McLean and people like that, they're definitely not teetotal. So they'll have a few sore heads a day getting into training. But I don't think KT will. I might be wrong. I seen the video of him getting a bottle of Iron Brew for the guy saying for your hangover cure. But unless he's changed in the last couple of years, after the KT I remember never drank.
Right, nice one. Nice one. Here's a wee bit of inside info for you, Sean. KT's teetotal, he doesn't drink, mate. And as you sometimes, I mean, where's my manners? Sometimes you do forget, mate. We're sitting with not so long ago, Scotland International here. So obviously he's well aware of these boys like Callum McGregor and KT and boys that are in the Celtic team. So yeah, another wee insight for us for Baz. But that's quite interesting that to find out. That could be, we could send somebody on a mission to find out if KT is actually, because I seen my dad, he texted me today and he says, "What do you think of KT's his interview earlier on? He looked half pissed sitting in the interview." And I says, "No, well, who knows? He might have been, he might not have been." But as Baz says, Sean, obviously KT himself going back into training today, mate, he would have deserved it. But looking into training, obviously, it's going to be interesting, Sean, I think, to see what players are available for Saturday. As you touched on there, Baz touched on, Celtic do have a bit of physicality now back in their side. I personally think Arnie Engels has been superb since Martin's come in. So has Austin Tusty and Nygren. They also bring a bit of height as well. None of them are kind of shrinking violets there. For me, Big Scales, he's been absolutely tremendous this season. And I believe now he was Ireland's top man there, the international break as well, with 2 assists in the 2 games. It helped to get them the playoff position now, especially that header he gets up and wins for the Troy Parrott hat trick. Just putting his sail about. I don't know, obviously, Baz, I'll come to you with this one in a wee minute or two, mate, once I get the boys' opinion, but I don't know if Big Scalesy can now be used as a decoy in a set play and having him in there winning kind of headers and putting, because for me, Sean, I think that's one of Scalesy's biggest positives, mate, is he's so brave, mate. He just puts his head against anything and it doesn't matter if he gets kicked or elbowed or what. He puts his head in the road of things, and I really do think, I saw something interesting the other day. I seen that on market, his value now is like £4.5 million if teams wanted to buy him. I think it was my dad that mentioned it to me, and I says, well, I don't know what he eats, but I wouldn't even give him that for his Nando's bill. I think he'd be talking a wee bit more than that, I think. Maybe when he adds in his mashed totties and like bread. But in terms of the team shaping up, mate, what do you see there? Do you see, like, obviously I've seen in the comments here, we've got any actual back training. That could be a positive for us going into the next round of games and whatnot else. But do you see Martin O'Neill sticking with the physicality type in the team as well?
Yeah, I do, mate. In terms of, I'll always seize the opportunity to talk about Liam Scales, mate, because I think for a lot of Celtic fans just need to show some humility, man, and admit that this boy, we don't always get it right with players. We can write players off, we can judge them for the offset, but there comes a point where the facts are there in front of you, and you need to go, this guy's a player, man. What would you have to pay to go and get a centre back of skill, the quality skills is bringing to your team? And you said that man of the podcast, JP, I don't know, a while ago. When was the last time you saw him make a big mistake? I can't remember. Like maybe the cup final against Aim, but not obviously the penalty. It wasn't a penalty, and was it a penalty? VAR came out and said it should have been. He very rarely makes any mistakes for Celtic, and like you said, I know he's aggressive in the headers. He'll go up, he'll put his body on the line. He was outstanding against Rangers in the cup final. That challenge, I don't care what anybody says against Gassama when he's running through. That's world class, mate. That's to cover that ground and make that challenge. He's just. How are you going to get a player? We signed him for like £200,000, something like that. Where are you going to get a player like that?
I think it was 425,000 he was for Shamrock Rovers.
Where are you going to get a player in this market that's going to put in results, performances like that for Celtic at centre back? Don't show me where you're going to get a player, because and that's another great point that Vaughan's made there. He's rarely injured. He's like Callum McGregor. He always plays. That's my fanboying Liam Scales overway. But in terms of the team, the physicality, I definitely believe that's been a huge factor in Martin O'Neill's return to Celtic. That the players are a lot more physical. We do look more of a threat now at set pieces, corners. Now when we get a corner, I'm thinking we could put one of these away here. Whereas before it was with Rodgers, it was 12, 13, 14 corners in a match, and you're not even getting anything on target. It was just, or like I said, it's gone back to the right back or the left back. And Martin O'Neill's not scared to make big decisions, mate. He'll play players that he thinks are going to impact the team and suit the team. I mean, he took Tierney out of the team and put Sirachi at left back. Tierney's a top quality player. Martin O'Neill wasn't scared to make that call, because we'd all been seeing it. We were all saying it. As much as I love Tierney, but Sirachi and Taneki that seems to be like a match made in heaven down that left hand side. They work really well together. And Martin O'Neill and Maloney, whoever, the team have identified that, and they've said, right, this is a big call we need to make, but we're going to do it. And I like that. We're not here to keep people happy, or because somebody comes with a price tag or they come with a reputation. We're out there to win. We want to be the champions of Scotland. We want to compete. We want to win every game. So you play your best team. I feel like Rodgers at times didn't do that. He was, and Rodgers just could not nail down what his central midfield was. He changed it so much. There was Bernardo was in there, Hatate, Engels, Nygren, McCowan. He tried everything. He just could not get harmony in that midfield. And I think Martin O'Neill's done that since he's been in. I think McGregor and Engels just work absolutely fantastic together. And Nygren getting the licence to do whatever the hell he wants, basically. Go forward, go to the right, go to the left, float and get goals. So I've just really enjoyed the spell of football that we've been seeing. It's been long coming, because it was just so stale, and it's apparent because look at the gap between us and the top, and I think there was some mad sort of stat flying about. I think it was Celtic had conceded more goals up to this point than what they did the entire last season. Some stat like that, and I thought that's really, that tells a story of what was going on with Rodgers at Celtic. So I absolutely delighted with the team at the moment, mate, and I'm really, really looking forward to Saturday's game, even though it's going to be a tough game, tough place to go. But I'm really, really, same with the derby. I was really looking forward to the derby, JP, and I wouldn't have been like that under Rodgers. So that's testament to what the team have showed us on the pitch, mate. And I can't wait.
Yeah, Daniel, obviously Martin O'Neill, we've seen him in a photo with Mark Fotheringham, mate, so they were in attendance at the last St Mirren game. And, obviously they went and had a look, go with a view of this game, mate, so I'm assuming Martin will know, certainly, what they're all about, what they've got and what they possess, and then he can work around that accordingly with his squad. But as Baz says, he's brought some real physicality back to our team and probably some height that was needed about our team as well. That's the thing I've noticed with Martin as well, Daniel. He's not been adverse to changing the team. He's came in and he's not just went, I'm just going to keep doing what Brendan was doing. No, he's gave boys like Callum Osmond a chance. He's gave Austin Trusty a chance to come in and play right centre-back when we were, gaslighted by the previous manager telling us that he couldn't play there due to an unbalance in the team. He's gave Marcelo Sirachi a chance. When Sirachi came back for the last international break, not this one, the one before, he never kicked a ball. He never got in the team. Bearing in mind, he captained Uruguay and done very well in the last one. And he got a great write-up and review on his performance level with Marco Bielsa. So there was things happening, Daniel, where I don't know if it was maybe judgment on his mind or just there was things going on with Brendan that you could really question. You look at Dane Murray goes in at Tynecastle and over the top of Austin Trusty. In hindsight now, you look at that and you say, well, Brendan, you've got blood on your hands here, mate, because that's a big call. And ultimately, in a big game that stretched Hearts' league at the top of the table that day. When you look at the game back, mate, Dane Murray's he's more or less at fault for the 3 goals. He scores an OG, gives away a penalty. And I've never seen, honestly, he's lucky I wasn't on the field with him that day. I'd have went for him. He's jumped out the road of the Kiziridis goal. He just steps aside. I'm like, what are you doing? Let it hit half you. So, yeah, there was a few crazy calls, mate. But obviously, Martin showed that we never even saw Callum Osmond up to that time. At that point of the season, we only seen him in the pre-season friendlies. The next one that I was ready to mention, right out of the blue, man. Nobody seen that coming. Against Kilmarnock before the international break, Jemai Simpson-Pousy's in the team. So, you're like, where'd that come from? And up until maybe his first pass where it goes astray and goes to one of the Kilmarnock players, after that the boy grew into the game and he settled. I think when he got a good applause for the crowd and you could see, so you think to yourself, what has went on behind the scenes that we've not seen these guys, because they certainly don't look like terrible players. Certainly Callum Osmond brought a certain level of excitement in the small pit before he got that injury, which was a shame. Obviously, Martin, mate, obviously your own thoughts there in terms of, do you think he'll keep the physicality about the Celtic team going into this game on Saturday?
Yeah, I think that kind of a physicality within the team has always been there. It's just been a mentality thing for me. It's been big for us, especially in the derby games. Like, we've kind of been bullied off the ball at times, and it's been a complete shift. Now we are putting our own selves about and stuff like that, and that's what we want to see. I do think that we will see kind of those physical players staying in the squad. But yeah, it's good to see. It's kind of we did say that we think before January we'll see Martin giving the squad a kind of a assessment, and that's obviously been players like Trusty getting put back in the team, and then obviously Callum Osmond and Jemai getting pulled from literally nowhere and given an opportunity to show what they can do. So it's been good that way. But yeah, heading into St Mirren game, I do think we will need to keep that physicality because we know what they're like. They're strong, tall, and they like to put themselves about. So we need to keep that physicality, especially in the midfield. Players like Arnie Engels and stuff like that, we know that they don't like to get pushed around. So yeah, it just gives us an edge, especially in that midfield. I feel if the players playing there are strong and stuff like that, and they can go up against this St Mirren midfield without fear of physicality being an issue for them.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Obviously, Baz, touching on Liam Scales, mate, he's been a man of many subjects and topics throughout his time. For me, this is his best season in a Celtic shirt so far. I've seen one of the comments earlier saying he's actually got better each season he's been in the Celtic team. Was it fair to say now, mate, that he's probably a mainstay in the Celtic team for his heroics up to now?
I think at the minute, obviously we've not got a great deal to play at centre back at the minute, but I think when Carter Vickers is back, I've been really impressed with Austin Trusty in recent weeks. I think Trusty's been brilliant. I think when Carter Vickers comes back and you've got Trusty, then who knows what could happen. That could be the partnership. But Skills, he's done brilliant. He's done really well. And he's always consistent. And I can see why people are saying he's probably the mate. But he's probably, along with McGregor, the only one that plays week in, week out for I don't know how many games now. He's never injured. So when these people play that many games, then you get a good run of games. It's easy to find consistency. But he's been brilliant.
How important is that, Baz? Like, you talk about the fitness levels, mate. Obviously, yourself, you would know, but how important is that, mate? That, you know, is that easier for a manager to decide who's in a team, who's not in a team? Then when you like that, who just bounce into the next game for you?
Well, you'll get probably 3 or 4 players like that in a squad who, no matter how many games they play, you know you can always put them in, and they won't break down. He's one of them, along with McGregor. Maeda is another one that has played loads and loads of games, and the pace he plays it as well. It's crazy. But no, I've been impressed with Skills, especially this season. But I'd still say we probably let better centre halves go. I think when Laga Bielka wasn't given a great enough chance at Celtic. I think you watched him at Celtic Park the other night with Braga, and I thought he strolled the game that night. I thought he was brilliant. So it just goes to show that you need to give people like this chances. You can't just give certain players a run of games and bring people in and out. Austin Trusty's not had a great run of games compared to what Liam Scales has had.
Yeah.
So it's hard for these players to find their performances week in, week out when they're in and out the team. I thought Naroki was another one who I thought he was good, but never got the chance. Listen, Liam Scales took his chance, stayed in the team. Brendan loved him. And the boy's confidence is sky high, which is why you're seeing the performances that he's given us. But I just think if Carter Vickers comes back and Austin Trusty stays fit, I think for me that would probably be my centre-half partnership.
Yeah, listen, I can see your thoughts there in terms of that centre-half partnership. Personally, from what I've seen from the summer till now, I know he's injured now, but Carter Vickers, in my opinion, was quite dodgy at times. He did have some moments this season where flaws were creeping into his game. Now, again, we don't know if that was the previous manager or things maybe hadn't been settled there. Who knows? Certainly his performance levels were affected, in my opinion. And actually, I think the time he's been on the team, Baz, I do agree with you. I think Austin Trusty certainly performed better. Maybe it's just that's how it feels because Celtic are doing things a bit quicker and everything else. But I can get your thoughts on, Celtic playing those two. But I agree with Sean. I think it's going to be very hard for Liam Scales to drop out the team unless he's injured and unless he does something really, really radical. Like I say, for the time I've watched Liam Scales at Celtic, and people can have their own views, I've never seen Liam Scales do something like Carter Vickers done against Bruges and scoring an own goal. Never seen him doing anything like that. I've never had a heart in the mouth moment with him. Probably the Cherny one, the cup final, okay, but that's a tug of war with the two of them pulling each other's jersey. Again, I'm not really feeling a heart in the mouth moment there. There's
no comparing them two, JP. There's no.
No, I'm not trying to compare the two of them, but what I'm saying is that the way people, the way I think certain people put cloud on Liam Scales, I think is just a bit unfair because I really do think he's never really had a moment where,
I think you're
watching him, or your hands are behind your eyes, or like that.
But fans don't want to not like Liam Scales. They want to love him, but he has had moments where he's he's been at fault for a lot of goals in his career at Celtic. Recently, probably no, but that's why fans are starting to turn now, because them moments are starting to drop away for his game, and he's starting to be more consistent, and you've not really got that problem with him anymore. But the fans have only really got that in their heads because of previous performances. Unbelievable defending his box. But there is, if you watch every game this season, I know you're speaking about Carter Vickers scoring an own goal. William Scales has done a few things that I've seen this season that on another day could have contributed to a goal. So I can see why Celtic fans are still saying we need a better centre-half, because if you want to go to the next level, I think you do, but I think we've got two of them there already. I think fully fit and both at it, Carter Vickers and Austin Trusty are a solid partnership. William Scales, he's obviously got the jersey. He's probably number one at the minute in terms of keeping the jersey, because he's come in and done unbelievable. But I still think the two, Trusty and Carter Vickers, are better centre-backs than William Scales.
Aye, fair enough. That's fair dues. Right, Daniel, obviously I'm going to do this a different way now and kind of throw everybody here, but Daniel, we'll start with you. Give us a team line-up for Saturday.
For Saturday, I think we'll see Schmeichel in net, of course.
Do you think that's a possibility after what's just happened to him, or do you think Martin might take him out the kind of final line?
He'll stay in net. Obviously there's huge question marks around about him right now, but I think Martin will stick with him and kind of give him that chance to perform. Centre back,
he's still having nightmares. He's struggling to sleep now with that Kenny McLean lob, so he is.
No wonder. Centre back pairing for me would be obviously Scales and Trusty, and then at right back there's nobody else that can play the position right now because they're both injured. So I'll say it has to be Tony Ralston. On the left, I think we'll see Kieran Tierney of coming off the back of a great performance. Middle of the park, obviously Callum McGregor. And I think we'll see him go with Engels and Hatate. And then up front, I think we will see the return of Johnny Kenny starting up front. I think we'll see Maeda on the left and James Forrest on the right for me.
Right, Sean, your turn.
I think it will be just pretty much unchanged for the Glasgow derby, mate. I think it will be Schmeichel, Ralston, Trusty, Scales. Sarachi's still injured, I believe, is he?
I think he is, aye.
Aye, so it'll be Tierney come in, and then I think it will be McGregor, obviously Engels, Nygren, Maeda, Taneke and Johnny Kenny up top.
Do we have a problem with Taneke also? There's not been anything said about that up to now, but he's not playing for Tunisia. Aye.
All right, so he's a...
Somebody put in the comments that he trained JP today.
He's not available. I thought he was available, but
is it in a recent comment, Buzz?
I think when you put in Iniacho train, when you said it was actually Taneke, they said.
Oh, right.
Because then somebody said Iniacho never trained today, but I think
right, okay.
You might have read it as Iniacho, but it was somebody put Taneke trained today. It's Plunge,
right, okay.
Yeah, if Taneke is available, I'd like to see him on the right and Maeda and his natural left. Just obviously plays for in that position for his country. That would be my team, mate. I think don't change something that works obviously unless through injury, which Tierney obviously has to come in.
I'm the same as you, mate. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Buzz, obviously, what are you thinking?
I think it'll be Schmeichel. I think Simpson Passay will play right back because I'll just go back to Martin O'Neill light and physicality, especially away from home. Yep. I think he'll play right back. I think Trusty Scale speak for the 7th minute, been brilliant. they're actually forming a really good partnership together. So they'll play centre half. KT left back as Sirachi's injured. I think it'll be the same midfield three. Obviously, Hatate played well last game, but I think it'll be the physicality side, especially at St Mirren, because they're quite physical in there. So I think they'll match St Mirren's physicality in the middle with McGregor, Engels and Nygren. Front three, I'll go Taneke left, Johnny Kenny through the middle, and Dyson Maeda on the right. And I
Made
think
it easy.
Celtic will be 3-0.
Wow, made it easy for me, lads. Honestly, he's done that off a fast. Baz, same team as you, mate. I don't think Martinelli will change too much. I know Tony Ralston, he only got minutes, if anything, for Scotland there over that period. So I do think he'll go with the same team. I think he'll want to see Jemai Simpson Puzzi in that sort of environment away from home now. We've seen him at Parkhead. It's probably a lot easier to put him in at Celtic Park than it is to put him in away from home against a team who are physical, who will come against what you've got and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think he'll play Jemai there. I was only having a joke about Casper. For me, Casper will keep his place in the team. Although he's probably going to have to deal with a bit of noise up, a bit of slagging now, because I'd imagine me Tierney will. I know boys that know Tierney, but as you know him yourself, mate, he has a wee wind up apparently. So he'll begin him at tight.
Kenny McLean played for him, didn't he? So they'll begin him as well.
Aye, I know. And there'll be mass or something getting in. I can picture McGregor and some of them coming in with a say Kenny McLean on it or something like that, or just to noise him up. I can see.
I know Casper well as well. He don't take too well to banter. I know that for a fact.
Oh, does he know?
No.
Oh.
We gave him we used to have a thing at Leeds United where the worst trainer voted by the players on a Friday had to wear a yellow bib. And he got voted it, but not because he was the worst trainer. We just knew how he was going to react, and he refused to wear it.
You kidding on?
Swear to God, he wouldn't wear it.
Oh, you can't be having that, man.
I swear to God, he wouldn't wear the bib. He hated
Who was
it.
the captain? Who was the captain he's in?
It might have been club captain. Might have been Paddy Kisnorbo that used to be at Hearts.
I remember Paddy, aye.
He was a tough nut. He was nuts well, but I think he was injured at the time. The captain would have been maybe Bradley Johnson, maybe.
Right.
But Paddy was club captain, I'm nearly sure he was.
They should have been giving him it, man, if he wasn't wearing a yellow bib for.
Oh, he didn't like
it. That's quite.
The significance of wearing a yellow bib, but did that sort of relate to?
The worst player in training.
So not only was he not wearing it, he's not getting humiliated at all with teammates.
What was the colour of all the other bibs then? What was
like white or green, but you had stuff wrote on it as well, I'm sure, like stuff that I can't
Celtic
see.
have got it, I know, like Paul Lambert used to talk about it a lot as well when he was Celtic. I know the end when under Martin O'Neill, the boys used to have one of them then. It was a yellow bib and it was all different signatures for the players, but it all had something on it. They were giving you nicknames, but obviously you can't. We're live, lads. I can't say the names on here, but you can probably imagine some of the stuff that was getting put on it. But I don't know if Celtic still do something like that. I don't know if they still operate.
Martin done it at Villa?
Martin done it at Aston Villa.
Right, so it must have been a Martin O'Neill thing then. Maybe he brought it in then. Aye.
It was Martin, but we done it at Villa. We had to have votes as players. They loved it.
Did you ever get it, Barry?
I've had it quite a lot. I've had it at clubs quite a lot where you do that. It's normally like Steve Bruce done it at Sheffield Wednesday, and the worst player had to bring in like loads of chocolate for the next away trip. But I get voted it for the same reason that Casper would get voted it for, because they knew that I would go mad. So, but I had to wear it. Yeah, I wore it because it's good banter in it. But at the time, I used to flip out and question it because I don't think I was the worst trainer. But he actually refused to wear it.
Probably got to get his antibodies off. Big Pierce Michael turning up at Ellen Road looking for these all. Where are these, man?
Waiting at the gate.
Waiting on these big massive ones. By the way, people asked, but Peter asked, I got asked the other week, what was she famous for? And I said, remember the old lottery advert with a big con? It used to go, it's you. That was Pierce Michael's son.
Martin used to do Old V Young in yellow bib, so I don't know if he brought it back in, because that was Steve Walford and John Robertson. Martin loved it. He used to come out when the votes were getting passed about, but Wally and John Robertson, they used to love it. They used to like stir it up and that, and like say, for instance, they would say that if I voted somebody, they would look at like say a James Collins or a Richard Dunn and say, I can't believe the wee man's voted you. And they would stir it up like that. So it was really good, to be fair. But I'd imagine he would probably try and bring it back in, but I don't know.
You just picture
Big Casper getting it tomorrow.
you could picture Casper. They're all waiting in the door of Lennoxtown today for Casper. I'm walking in tomorrow. There you go, son. Stick that one. Casper will be swinging punches in the car park, man. Security videos going mental. You can just picture that, by the way. Sean Maloney's got a black eye. Mark Foringham's no teeth, and Big McManus has got a broken nose. I'll try to put what happened to these boys? I'll try to put a yellow bib on Casper. Tremendous. But as I say, it's kind of one of the things. I'm pretty sure Casper's old enough and he's long in the tooth now. He'll go over that quickly, as people always do. But listen, see, Peter gave him a hard time for the fourth goal, right? His full team were pressing the pitch. They were high. They were trying to press us to get the goals back or get a goal back in the game. And it was just one of the ones. The boy misplaced the pass, and Scotland are then overloaded. And then everybody in the country, including Stephen Thompson and James McFadden, are screaming, shoot. Everybody was, they just done it live and it was broadcasted all over the place. And he shot, and Casper does that at Celtic, by the way. He stands outside his box when Celtic are attacking. Because the way Celtic play, we play with our two centre-halves normally inside their half, just there the halfway line. So that helps to overturn the ball and get high turnovers on the pitch. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And he nearly got lobbed for Celtic. I know, by the way, it nearly happened to him a second time this season. The boy at Parkhead for Kairat done it. Mm-hmm. And I needed to go to the wee boys' room, man, to go and fucking relieve myself severely, man. I thought I would nearly shit myself, honestly, boys. I was like, oh no, and then it hit the bar and went over. I was like, oh, thank God for that. Every goalkeeper, you can ask any goalkeeper, they hate getting beat like that. The two worst things a goalie hates losing to is lobs like that, or see when guys are taking penalties against them, when they do the Panenka, and it sends them a wrong way, and that just kind of trickles by them. Goalies hate it, man. Absolutely hate it. I remember big Craig Gordon in the cup final picking the ball up and trying to scalp Edward with it.
I remember.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They just, it sends goalies into a fitter age. But Casper's long in the tooth. I'm pretty sure he'll recover for that, boys. But no, that brings us to the end of our wee chat tonight, lads. We'll start off with yourself, Daniel. Cheers again, mate, for third time this week, mate. I've been in with you, so you'll be fed up looking at me now.
Never. But no, it's been good. Exciting week coming up for Celtic. Obviously, it's good to get on with Barry and get his insights and stuff like that as well. Obviously, being a professional. But thanks to everybody for tuning in and watching, and obviously leaving your comments and stuff like that. Hope you all have a great weekend, and Celtic can put a smile on their faces again.
Yeah, Sean, same to yourself, mate. It was good to see you and get a wee chat with you, mate.
Aye, likewise, JP. It was good to be on the pod, good to chat with Barry, Daniel. myself. It's always good to get Barry's insight, you know, in the game that often we don't really get to see or know about. So it always is interesting to have Barry on and hear what he's got to say, and a lot of good comments in for the viewers tonight as well. So on to Saturday, I think we'll get the win. Going to go for 3-0 or 3-1, and get the job done, get us up the road, and hopefully results go for us on Sunday as well.
And Baz, same to yourself, mate. Obviously, you've got a big derby at the weekend, mate. So, cheers again for coming on tonight, having a wee chat with us, and all the best for the weekend, mate.
No, thanks for having us, and cheers to Sean and Daniel. It's been brilliant listening to you tonight as well. Brilliant insight as well for you. Obviously, you watch Celtic probably the same as me actually, because I watch them every week as well. But it's great to hear from a fan's perspective as well, and what the fans are actually thinking. So I really enjoyed it as well, being in your company tonight, and thanks again. But no, I've enjoyed it, JP. Thanks again, big man. Obviously, I love coming on here, so whenever I get the chance, I like jumping on. And hopefully Celtic can make me happy on Saturday, and then I can go and do the damage myself on Sunday and make myself really, really happy on Sunday by winning the derby. I'm due a win, so I think that's all I've got really left in the bucket list is to beat them. So hopefully I can do it Sunday.
Aye. No, fingers crossed, mate. As I say, we always love having you on here, mate. Love hearing your insights and thoughts regarding Celtic and football and everything else, mate. So it's always a pleasure to get you on with us. A couple of good things coming up for the channel, guys, just before we finish up. Tomorrow, hopefully, if I can get it going. I've had a bit of technical issues with it. As I mentioned earlier, me and young Daniel were in the 32 Counties bar, and we recorded a bit of content in there. We chat about the January transfer window, etc. So we're hoping to get that up in the YouTube channel for you tomorrow. Just stay tuned for that. If it can't be tomorrow, it might be the next day. It just depends on how I can work my magic. Next Wednesday, I believe, folks, we have a fantastic guest coming on for a chat with us. Tommy Burns' son Jonathan's joining us from America. So he'll be coming on, having a wee catch up with us. He's been on before, and he'll be giving us a lowdown on a closer view than we have, certainly on Celtic's target Wilfred Nancy. So Jonathan's had a lot of really good things to say about Wilfred, and he labelled him as top. So take from that what you will. But he's joining us next Wednesday. We don't know if that's going to be a live podcast or it'll be recorded. Again, just stay tuned in the community, the channel, guys, and stay tuned across the socials. We will update you as we go. Anybody that's going to St Mirren game, enjoy yourself, wrap up well, because the weather's took a severe drop across this central belt of Scotland. I'm now wearing trousers. I'm known as one of those dads at the school that wears shorts all the time, guys. So I've now had to be given another label. I've now got trousers on down at school. So yeah, I'm starting to kind of feel the cold. But above all else, have a great weekend. Thanks for all your comments. Much appreciated. If you don't already know, or if you've not already managed to do it, please hit the like and the subscribe button. It does help the channel go a long way. It is free of charge. And like I said before, it helps the channel bring things like an opportunity to go and do some content in the 32 Counties bar, where we will now be doing plenty of, I can assure you. But for the time being, lads, hail, take care, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.
Hail. See you later, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Sets up Larsson here. Larsson. Oh, he's in! Henrik Larsson! That is sensational! O'Reilly for Henrik Larsson, and Moravcik! His first goal for Celtic! Here is Shunsuke Nakamura! Exquisite!